Okay, let me ask you something. Have you ever stared down a big goal? You know, maybe learning a new skill, getting healthier, or finally tackling that big project. You feel this huge surge of motivation, right? But then day by day, you watch it slowly, almost like you can't even see it happen. Just fizzle out. You're definitely not alone there. It's pretty universal, I think. So today we're doing a deep dive into Atomic Habits by James Clear. It's a book that honestly completely reframes how we think about change and achievement. Our mission here is really to give you a shortcut, a way to understand how to build systems that don't just rely on sheer willpower, because that often fails, right? But systems that actually lead to lasting results. We're going to pull out the most important actionable bits from this guide.
That's exactly right. Yeah, we've basically distilled the core ideas from a really solid summary of Atomic Habits, which means, you get the crucial insights without having to wade through everything yourself. It's all about the practical stuff, the wisdom you can actually apply, like today.
Okay, so let's start with the title itself, Atomic Habits, because that really points to the core idea, doesn't it? Tiny changes, big results. When Clear says atomic, what's he really getting at?
He's talking about those incredibly small, fundamental building blocks of our lives. Changes so tiny they almost seem, pointless. Insignificant.
Yeah, insignificant. That's the word. And that, to me, is where the paradox is. How can something so small matter so much?
Right. And that paradox is what makes it so interesting. Clear uses this concept he calls the 1% rule to explain it. Imagine getting just 1% better each day. You won't notice it today, probably not tomorrow either. But over a year, that tiny improvement, it compounds. It grows exponentially into these truly astonishing results. It's a curve that's almost flat at the start, but then skyrockets.
Okay, so if 1% better compounds like that, I immediately think about the flip side, the dark side maybe. What does a 1% decline look like over a year? And how do we even spot that? Because it's probably just as subtle. It feels like the smallest, most insignificant choice. Walk an extra block or scroll Instagram for 5 more minutes. That's actually a vote for who we're becoming.
That's a really crucial insight. Because, yeah, just like the gains, the losses compound too. Think about hitting the snooze button one day. No big deal, right?
Everyone does it.
But if that becomes your habit, your system, it slowly eats away at your morning, your energy, maybe even your sense of control over time. It's that subtle creep. And this leads us straight into one of the most powerful quotes in the book, maybe a bit uncomfortable too. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems.
Oof. Do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Wow, that really flips the script, doesn't it? Because I think most of us, we blame willpower or lack of it. But maybe the real problem is just our setup, the system we're operating in.
Exactly.
What's like a common subtle system people might have that's actually working against them and they don't even see it?
Well, we often focus so much on the outcome, the big goal, when we should be designing the process, the system itself, a really common one. The system of reaching for your phone the second you wake up. Your goal might be a productive morning, but the system you've got in place is just instant distraction.
Guilty as charged, yeah.
And understanding that dynamic, that interplay, brings us right to Clear's 4-step model for how habits work. He calls it the habit loop. It's basically the blueprint for how our brains automate behaviors. If you get this loop, you can start to, pull the levers.
Okay, so break it down for us. What are these 4 steps that are kind of running our lives on autopilot?
Okay, first up is the cue. Think of this as the trigger, the stimulus in your environment that kicks off the behavior. So maybe your phone buzzes, that's a cue. Or you walk into the kitchen and see cookies on the counter, another cue.
Right, the cue, the trigger. It makes you wonder how many cues are just floating around us all day, nudging us in certain directions without us even noticing. Okay, what's next? After the trigger.
Next comes the craving. This is the desire, the motivation. It's the anticipation of the reward that the cue promises. So with the phone buzz, the craving might be for connection, or maybe just a hit of dopamine, a little distraction. With the cookies, maybe it's a craving for that sugary taste or comfort, or just breaking boredom. It's the wanting part.
Got it.
Right.
Craving. And then the response that's just doing the thing, right?
Yeah.
The actual habit.
Precisely. The response is the action itself. Picking up the phone, opening the app, grabbing the cookie, eating it. That's the habit you perform.
And finally, number 4, the reward. That's the payoff. The bit that makes your brain go, nice, let's do that again.
Yes, exactly. The reward is what satisfies that initial craving. It closes the loop. Seeing a new message satisfies the connection craving. The cookie delivers the sugar rush or comfort. And crucially, this reward tells your brain, hey, that worked. Remember this sequence for next time. So cue, craving, response, reward. That's the habit loop. And Clear's whole point is, if you want to change your habits, build good ones, break bad ones, you need to understand these 4 levers and learn how to adjust them.
Okay, so knowing that loop exists gives us the power to actually build good habits.
Yeah.
It's not just random.
It Clear lays out 4 principles, or like laws of behavior change, for doing exactly that, kind of an instruction manual.
He does. And the first law for building good habits is make it obvious. This is all about the cue. You need to make the trigger for your good habit visible, unavoidable even, in your daily life. Like if you want to start jogging, don't hide your running shoes in the closet. Put them right by the front door. Maybe even on your bed. You literally can't miss them. Yeah, I tried meditating once. My cushion was always stuffed in a cupboard somewhere. And it sounds silly, but if it's not staring you in the face, it's just so easy to forget or put off. So making that cue totally obvious is key. Okay, what's number 2?
Second law, make it attractive. This tackles the craving part of the loop. The idea is to make the new habit more appealing. One way is temptation bundling, pairing something you want to do with something you need to do. Like maybe you want to get better at journaling, but you love your morning coffee. The rule becomes, after I pour my coffee, I will write 1 sentence in my journal. You link the new, maybe slightly less appealing habit to an existing enjoyable one.
Oh, that's smart. It's like giving yourself a little reward just for starting. Brain hack. Okay, the third law feels really intuitive. Make it easy. But this targets the response. Basically, the less friction, the less effort involved, the more likely you are to actually do it.
Exactly. Lower the barrier to entry.
Clear has that great quote, don't start by reading 30 pages, read just one page. It feels almost ridiculously small, but it makes it nearly impossible to say no, right?
Absolutely. That tiny start builds momentum without feeling overwhelming. It gets you past the initial resistance. And then the 4th law ties it all together. Make it satisfying. This is about the reward. Our brains love immediate gratification. So you need to give yourself some kind of instant win when you perform the habit. It could be super simple, like putting a big check mark on a habit tracker, or telling a friend you did it, or just taking a second to acknowledge, hey, I did the thing. That immediate feeling of success helps lock the habit in.
Okay, make it obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying. That's the positive playbook.
Yeah.
But let's be real, we all have those sticky, not so great habits we want to ditch.
Yeah.
Does Clear just say, like, do the opposite? Flip the script.
Pretty much, yeah. It's the inverse of the 4 laws for breaking bad habits. So the first rule for breaking a bad habit is make it invisible. Hide the cue, remove the trigger. If scrolling your phone in bed is the problem, the simplest fix is often just don't have the phone next to the bed, charge it across the room. Out of sight, hopefully out of mind. Reduces the temptation significantly.
Makes sense. Less temptation, less chance of starting the loop. Okay, what's the inverse of attractive?
Make it unattractive. This is about reframing. You actively focus on the downsides, the negative consequences of the bad habit. So instead of thinking, oh, just 1 cigarette, you reframe it as, this is damaging my lungs, costing me money, making me smell bad. You highlight the negatives to reduce the craving.
Right, really dwelling on why it's bad for you.
Okay.
Inverse of easy.
Make it hard. Increase the friction. Add steps between you and the bad habit. If you waste time on certain apps, maybe delete them or use an app blocker. Or even just logging out every time adds a little bit of hassle. That extra effort can be enough to make you pause and think, do I really want to do this?
Adding obstacles. I like it. And finally, the opposite of satisfying.
Make it unsatisfying. You want to associate the bad habit with an immediate negative consequence. This could be having an accountability partner you have to report your slip-ups to. Or maybe even a swear jar. Approach a small financial penalty for indulging in the habit. That immediate bit of unpleasantness makes the brain less likely to want to repeat it.
So make it invisible, unattractive, hard, and unsatisfying. It's like reverse engineering your own behavior.
Exactly. But Clear takes it even deeper than just these mechanics. There's a really central idea he talks about: identity-based habits. He argues that fundamentally, lasting change isn't just about setting goals or tweaking behaviors. It starts with changing who you believe you are, your identity.
Whoa, okay. That feels like a bigger shift. So it's not just about what you do, but what that action says about the kind of person you are. So moving from, say, I want to lose 10 kilos, which is a goal, to something like, I am someone who prioritizes my health.
Yeah.
Or I am a healthy person.
Precisely. Or instead of I want to write a book is I am a writer.
Does that mean, like, the way we talk to ourselves is just as important as checking boxes on a habit tracker?
It's absolutely crucial because the power here is twofold. When you consistently perform a new habit, you start gathering evidence that changes your self-image. But also, when you consciously adopt that new identity, I am a runner, I am a reader, it powerfully reinforces the behavior. You start acting in alignment with that identity. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy almost, a positive feedback loop.
You're not just trying to do something, you're being that person.
Exactly. You're embodying it.
And that connects to another quote from the book that really, really stuck with me. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become.
That's just so potent, isn't it? Every tiny little thing you do today, every choice, every habit, it's like you're casting a ballot. It forces you to pause and think, okay, looking at my day, who am I actually voting to be with these actions? It really does, and it helps explain something many people experience. That feeling of slow, almost invisible progress at the start. Clear calls this the plateau of latent potential. You're putting in the effort, you're casting those votes for your new identity, but you're just not seeing the big results yet. He calls this tricky period the valley of disappointment.
Oh man, the valley of disappointment. So relatable. You're hitting the gym or writing that page or meditating for weeks, maybe months, and you look in the mirror or check your stats, and it feels like nothing's changing. It's so easy to just give up right there, isn't it? Right before the breakthrough.
It is, but his point is that persistence through that valley is crucial, because the results are accumulating just under the surface. And eventually, if you stick with it, you hit this tipping point and the progress seems to explode. It becomes exponential. You just have to trust the process during that quiet phase.
So how do we stick with it through that valley? Does he offer concrete tools?
Absolutely. He provides a whole toolkit of practical techniques that really help embed these laws into your actual life, making it less abstract.
Yeah, like moving from theory to, okay, what can I actually do right now? One I really liked was habit stacking. Super simple formula. After my current habit, I will maintain my new habit. Like after I brush my teeth, I will meditate for 1 minute. It just hooks the new habit onto something you already do automatically.
It's brilliant because it uses an existing pathway in your brain. Another really powerful one is environment design. This is about consciously shaping your surroundings to make good habits easier and bad habits harder. You know, basic stuff like putting healthy snacks right at eye level in the fridge and tucking the junk food away where it's hard to see or reach, or laying out your workout clothes the night before. Simple tweaks to your space.
Removing friction for the good stuff, adding friction for the bad. Makes sense. And then there's implementation intentions. This sounded a bit formal, but the idea is powerful. It's about making a specific plan. When situation X arises, I will perform response Y.
Yeah, like an if-then plan.
Exactly. Like, if it's 6 p.m. when I get home from work, then I will immediately change into my gym clothes. It removes the decision-making fatigue in the moment. The plan is already set.
It automates the decision, basically. And of course, there's the classic habit tracker, just the simple act of visually tracking your progress. Ticking a box, coloring a square. It provides that immediate satisfaction we talked about, and it taps into that desire not to break the chain. Seeing a streak builds momentum and motivation. It makes the habit obvious and satisfying.
Right. All these tools are great, but inevitably, life happens. We slip up. We miss a day. And Clear really normalizes this, right? He emphasizes that messing up once isn't failure. It's just part of the process. So many of us beat ourselves up over one missed workout or one bad meal.
He has a really critical rule for dealing with this, the never miss twice rule. Missing one day, okay, fine, you're human, things come up. But the second day is absolutely crucial. The goal is to get back on track immediately. Don't let one slip become two, because that's how old patterns sneak back in or new negative ones start.
Never miss twice. That feels manageable. It takes the pressure off being perfect. So it really boils down to consistency over perfection, doesn't it? Showing up, even imperfectly, is way more important than having a flawless record. That's where the compounding magic really happens.
Absolutely. And that, I think, is the essence of Atomic Habits. It's not just another rah-rah, try-harders motivational book. It's a genuine system, a handbook for change. It shifts your focus away from relying on willpower, which, let's face it, is finite and unreliable, towards building robust systems, designing your environment smartly, celebrating those small, consistent wins. If you understand these principles, these systems, you really can change your behavior. And by changing your behavior, you can achieve pretty much any goal, just one tiny atomic step at a time.
So as you're listening to this, thinking about your own goals, maybe big, maybe small, just consider this. What's one tiny, almost invisible change you could make today? Something to make a good habit more obvious, or more attractive, or just a little bit easier. What's one small action that would cast a vote for the person you genuinely want to become? Just imagine how applying even one of these ideas could start to subtly but really powerfully shift your whole system, maybe without you even noticing it first.